Good evening, everybody. How are you? Welcome to the Geek and I podcast. We are back, and it is, what is tonight? Episode 4 of Star Trek, the original series. It is Where No Man Has Gone Before, which is kind of strange one, because this is like really the first time I've sat down to watch it and kind of study it, and you can really tell this was the first episode, right? This was the first episode that
I think
aired?
this was the second pilot.
Right.
That's right.
But the
Yeah.
first with the new crew.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they were not shown in production order for some reason.
Yeah, it's very odd because last episode Bones was the doctor and Spock looked normal, and now we're back to Spock with the severe eyebrows and the old doctor.
Yeah, if you had been following since week 1, week 4 probably really threw you. And then week 5 just really messed with your head because everything was back to the way it was. So
were these shown originally in this order on TV, or
yeah,
like
Yeah.
back in 60 I know I wasn't there, so I don't know, but is this just the production orders, or is this like was this the first one to air on network television?
no, this was the 4th episode to air on network television. They screened the first couple of episodes, and the suits at NBC wanted to go with the more traditional monster of the week than a story about a man turning into God. They just thought it would play better. So they were very selective about the first couple of episodes to air before they kind of dumped this one at number 4 slot.
So when it's number 4, it's actually 3, right? Because the Cage never aired.
It's like 1 and 1A. So yeah, so Cage never aired. Where No Man Gone Before, second pilot did air. First episode aired 4th. And I was told there'd be no math on this podcast. And already I'm throwing out numbers left and right.
Can you see all that one meme where all the numbers and mathematical thing? That's what my brain's doing, because I'm like, yeah.
So then the second one that was ever aired was the Salt Liquor,
which I believe was the first episode aired. So production number 2 was aired number 1.
All right, I'm gonna need a pencil.
So Man Trap was number.
I think it was 2.
Okay.
And that one they decided to air first.
Well, I know they didn't want to air the Menagerie or the Cage because it was too cerebral. That's what the execs decided. And they decided to go, I assumed, with this episode first.
Okay, Star Trek is way too cerebral for me already, because I can't even, we're like 4 episodes in and I am completely lost as to what's going on, I don't get it. So let me get this straight. The pilot airs, which is Where No Man Has Gone Before. Pilot 2.
It did not air until the 4th slot.
So the first one
for NBC.
Okay, I'm calling an audible here.
Okay, here we go.
The first Omaha. So the first one that was ever on TV is Man Trap.
Right.
Second one
Charlie
is Charlie.
What's on second?
Who's on third?
Who's on third? Yeah, Charlie X, and then Where No Man Has Gone Before. After this, they pretty much aired in production order with a couple of exceptions here and there. But again, it was the network getting involved. They felt the pacing was too slow with this episode that we're going to talk about tonight, and that all the action didn't take place until the last 7 or 8 minutes of the episode. And they thought
they thought Man Trap was more action packed than this one.
It was more traditional because at that time, remember, you've got your kind of Lost in Space, your Outer Limits, where they were used to the monster of the week appearing on the show, and I guess they didn't get it and said, "There's nothing going on here. You need to have a monster." You know, you need.
So they put a Yeti in.
So they gave us the M113 Salt Vampire, you know, which was honestly a throwback to. Oh God, I used more numbers. Sorry, which was just that whole thing was just a throwback to 50s monsters movies.
Let me give you the correct music to kind of figure this out.
Exactly.
I would phone a friend, but it would be you, John. So
I can't help. I can't help you.
You can't help me right now. Yeah.
No, because I have no idea what we're talking about.
Okay.
So the one we're talking about tonight,
second pilot aired in the 4th slot, twice removed.
Is that your final answer?
I'll go with D.
D, all of the above.
Okay, so let's get into this. So, all right. So we have Where No Man Has Gone Before, episode 4. Okay, so that explains why the star date is earlier than the ones that were earlier.
Yep.
If that makes any sense, I don't know.
My brain is fried now.
As someone who's watched this for 50-something years, don't get too caught up in the star dates. They kind of fluctuate all over the place, so...
It's just their lottery numbers of the week, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. So this is Captain's Log, star date 1312.4. And we have basically the Enterprise just flying through space. And I noticed on this one that there's nice little red and blue dots.
Yes.
So the Paramount features that went in and redid the effects, they really went all out with. It was like, hey Charlie, grab a red and green pen.
We spared no expense.
Done.
All right, so we're playing chess again. So we played chess with Charlie and melted the pieces. So this must be a new chessboard. But this one came first. So is this the chessboard that melted?
That's a good question. It doesn't look like it to me. Those chess pieces look larger.
Yeah, these look like different chess pieces.
All right, well, write that down and we'll have to figure that out for next week. Do some research.
I won't say what they look like, but you know.
Salt shakers.
As I'm
salt shakers.
As I'm fond of saying, it's explained in a deleted scene that was never filmed.
And I guess that's why Yeoman Rand isn't in this episode.
Yes, we have no Yeoman Rand and no red shirts whatsoever.
Right.
No red uniforms at all.
So does anybody die in this episode? No, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. A number of people died.
9, I think. They just
Yeah.
weren't red shirts.
Did you count?
Do we need to start keeping a death toll? We can. I mean,
Well, I mean, I think that's what they said, 9.
we could do an over/under during each podcast. We could call it covering the red spread.
All right, so they're playing chess, and they're flying through. They're actually going to exit the galaxy, correct?
Mhm.
Yep.
And they come across, I guess, a message from a ship that crossed 200 years ago. And I guess Kirk is more interested in the TV than he is playing Spock. Spock seems like he doesn't care. He just wants to play chess.
Spock is very out of sorts in this episode.
Very out of character.
Yeah. You know what? He's not wearing the blue shirt. He feels awkward. So it just doesn't feel right.
And I noticed the uniform zips up the shoulders.
Yes, that was another change.
That's pretty neat. That makes it easier to get off at the end when he's fighting.
Just like the Space 1999 ones with the zipper down the arms.
Yeah.
Mm.
So Kirk makes a move on Spock, and I guess doesn't get checkmated because he made an irrational move that Spock couldn't figure out.
Well, to be fair, I think Kirk thought he was playing checkers. So that's why Spock couldn't quite figure it out. But yeah, so it's interesting that Spock can be bested by his captain in chess.
Right. And, the logic dictates that he would know what he would do, but he actually doesn't. So now the object comes into tractor range, and they pull it on board, and it is the prototype of the green egg, or an old laundry unit.
This reminds me of the Palomino from the
Yes.
black hole.
Yes.
Yeah, every time I see it. Now, this was from 200 years ago. So was this off a SpaceX rocket or? That clearly just looks like it's a turbine of some kind with a little green egg in the top. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
I almost feel like the Wicked Witch should go over it and do like one of these and have Dorothy appear to.
Yeah, it looks like an air conditioner or a washing machine.
Mm. Well, luckily Kirk fights his first instinct to make love to it, and they kind of get the data from it.
And it's actually an old style ship recorder. I don't know. I mean, in the year 1967, did they have flight recorders?
Primitive ones, yeah, they did.
But were they this big?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know how big reel-to-reel is, so they have to have plenty of space in there to contain the data. I would think a larger vessel would probably need something larger. We don't know how big the Valiant was.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how many were in the crew. We knew there was, enough that some died, one came back, and that the rest of the crew was trying to figure out what happened, but I'm jumping ahead. So
And
maybe it was a large ship.
this one holds 3 megabytes of data. And we have Scotty in a tan shirt. What does that say on it?
Valiant. The
SS
USS
Valiant.
Valiant.
And then it starts beeping, and they get all scared, right? Didn't that freak them out when they hooked it up to Spock's computer to download the information?
Do that?
At least it was wireless.
So we get through the we slow down, and we're just about to leave the galaxy, correct?
Well, they're taking readings first. And
Right.
then, Spock starts doing that weird Candace talk that he did in the menagerie.
Oh, the shouting.
Yes. The staccato shouting, which is still so weird.
That's a leftover military thing, which like first officers or senior officers will do on the bridge. When you're under fire or you have crashing waves outside, not in a contained room roughly the size of my living room. So the shouting is probably overkill at that point.
It's just very weird. It always makes me laugh when I hear it.
And then we call up the rest of the what did he call them? The senior staff?
Yeah, I think they're the department heads.
Oh, right. And I keep getting her name. I keep thinking her name is Sybil Danning, but it isn't. It's
No, Sally Kellerman.
Yes, Sally Kellerman. Yeah.
Who had a very long career in Hollywood.
Yep. And then there's the new old doctor. And Sulu makes his appearance. And he is actually...
What was he the head of?
Was it...
I want to say physics or mathematics.
Yeah. Yes, it was. Yeah, he was the mathematics department head. And I said to myself, why are they giving the Asian the mathematics department? I don't. Come on, Gene. What's going on here?
He must have thought twice about it. He's like, you know what? Have him fly the ship. Are you sure? Have him fly the ship. All right. Yeah. And even the bridge is subtly different. Some of the stations are less evolved than they were in the previous episode. So we can see that they kind of we're still refining a lot of the aesthetics of the show. No skirts. All the women on the ship are wearing pants. They just have a different swoop neck collar on the uniforms.
Yeah, and that is that Smith or Jones?
Jones.
That was Jones, right? Because he called her, I think he called her Smith, and she's like, Jones.
Yeah.
And now this guy is Gary Mitchell, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And he comes back, doesn't he? Is that this character? Isn't there a Gary Mitchell? Or am I do I not get that? I don't know, because I thought, who's the spaceman that comes back?
Do you want to rephrase that? The spaceman who
Yeah,
comes
the guy that comes from the past. He's wearing the astronaut outfit.
The guy from the past wearing the astronaut.
Not in this episode, in a future
Oh,
episode.
the,
Gary Seven? Is that Gary Seven?
there's Gary Seven, yes, who
Okay.
was raised by aliens and has
Is
his
that the guy with the black cat?
Yes.
Okay. Now I know what you're talking about.
All right. So I'm getting my Garys confused.
So yeah, so Gary Mitchell is the first officer of the Enterprise at this point, which is not really implicitly said, but in the script he's listed as the first officer.
So why is he helmsing?
Because we're in the first episode, so the helm guy called in sick. Mitch, you want to take?
Forget everything
So
you
if he
know
was the
about.
first officer, what was Spock considered to be?
Science officer.
Yeah, just science officer.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So then what they're doing is they're doing the whole ESP thing, and she's got ESP, I guess. Is she like Deanna Troy's character, like a counselor or a psychologist?
So here's my take on this whole thing. They start using terms like Esper, which if you didn't have your captions on, you were like, what the hell did she just say? It's like in the previous episode when Captain Kirk mentioned USPA. You're like, what the hell is USPA? Oh, okay, so that's the United Earth Space Probe Agency, which they were using in lieu of Starfleet. Well, thank God they changed that. So the way that I read this is that she has, I guess people are routinely tested for ESP potential because must be some kind of government funded thing. Not that they're doing anything with it, they're just testing them for it. And she rates high, and I guess Gary rates high, and that's why they were affected differently from running smack into the galactic, let's call it the galactic border, shall we? So as they're trying to sneak across the galactic border, and when they get their ESP powers.
So it enhances them.
It triggers something latent, I would say, yes.
So they weren't possessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it, because they say that we don't even use the major portion of our brain. And I think when they cross the galactic border, whatever's in there just opens all that up, and now they're able to use that portion of the brain that we don't normally use.
Interesting.
This is my favorite shot in the whole show. That's when when Spock was showing Kirk his fantastic impersonation of Ernestine, the phone operator, from laughing.
One ringy dingy.
One ringy dingy. What is with that cord and that giant headset?
Well, see, that's I started watching the miniseries of Battlestar Galactica, and the big 1980s cell phones that they talked on the bridge in the command center. I said, what really sells this is the fact that the curly cord is wrapped up in a knot. Yeah. Like my kitchen phone was wrapped. That really sells that it's been used and it's old. Whereas this, I mean, it looks like they opened the packet and put a little. What could that thing be? Just a piece of foam on the end.
It probably is a broken. Let's looking at it. It's probably like World War II bomber kind of headset that they just wrap some cloth around. That's what it looks like to me, yeah.
So then Kirk makes a ship-wide announcement, I guess, we're going through. Everybody get ready. No one's been here before, or something like that. And they go to the purple line of death. And the storm that's inside makes everybody glow. And then Gary gets microwaved.
Yeah, impressive special effects.
That's what happens when you fly through a photo negative field. So
A negative photo field, not photo negatives.
we could be either way.
Yeah. So now they've lost all power. All they have is impulse. And I like the line where Kirk says, help, which was merely days away, is now years. So impulse is what? How fast is impulse power? Not that fast, not as fast as warp speed, right?
Nowhere near as fast. It's like super jet engines with no wind resistance. So yeah, not very fast at all. The eyes.
I wonder how they did the eyes, because those are kind of freaky looking.
It was, there's a couple of times when you look at it and it looks like they were wearing contacts, especially Sally Kellerman is looking like she's wearing contacts.
Did they have contacts back then?
They did, and they were glass. And in one of the books that I read, these were essentially a dual layer glass contact with kind of like a crinkled crush aluminum foil between them that when the lights hit them would give you that reflective glow. And they were really, really painful to wear.
I was going to say, that sounds uncomfortable.
You couldn't see through them. So like you could see in a lot of the scenes when they're wearing them, the heads start tilting back because that was the only way that they had a line of sight, which, and I think it was actually Gary Lockwood here who said that he thought it was kind of like a happy accident because they kept tilting their head back and they started to get this look of superiority about them. So he thought it kind of helped sell the performance of what they were trying to do. But yeah, those were incredibly painful from every account that I've read.
And like you said, Deb, they're freaky looking.
They are. They are freaky looking.
And would that would be just like normal light that would reflect off of them, I would guess.
Yeah, it's clearly just the stage lights that are coming off the glass and the foil.
Kind of like the lightsabers.
Very similar. Yep. See, now that's a great shot. You can see the light hitting it, and you can just see, especially in his right eye there, and actually in his left, that tiny little black area where they could see out of barely.
Like a pinpoint hole.
Like a pinpoint hole, yep.
So here we learn something that's pretty. Do they go in? I don't know if they go into this in the rest of the series, but Gary says he set up Kirk with this little blonde to, I guess, so he would pass, because if you didn't study, Kirk was so much, I don't know, was he smarter than everybody or just worked harder? That if you fell behind, you weren't, Kirk was going to be number one in the class. So he sets up Kirk with this little blonde lab technician, and Kirk is like, he's like, I almost married her. Now, is that in time? Is that
in Rathacon.
Carol Marcus.
A
Carol?
lot of people have kind of theorized that it might have been, and it kind of fits the narrative, I think, pretty well, that it could have been Carol Marcus, but Kirk knew a lot of blondes, so I think Gary might need to be more specific, or Kirk needs to be more specific which blonde. Speaking of blondes,
Yeah. So I guess she, for some reason, was put in charge of guarding him, and she is studying him, and he decides to show her what powers, I guess, he has. And he tells, I didn't write down his name.
Lee.
Lee
Lee?
Kelso. Lee Kelso. Yep.
Oh, okay. So related to that
Michael
70s
Kelso?
show?
That 70s show. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Kind of see that.
It worked.
That's why later in the episode, when Kirk mutters under his breath, "dumbass," it establishes the connection.
Right. It's the same universe.
Yeah, same universe.
Yeah.
Shared universe.
The Red Foreman cinematic universe.
Mhm.
Now there's something that needs to be developed.
So we have Kelso here. He tells them, don't turn that thing on because it'll blow up. And tells them, just don't do it. Now, does he only see it, or does he actually, using his powers, set it up that it's going to blow?
Well, Mitchell makes the comment that, because somebody asked him about it, and Mitchell makes the comment that he's seen what Lee's seen. He's seen the image in his brain, and that's how he knew.
Yeah, he says he missed it. He looked right at it and he missed it.
Okay, because I'm the way I looked at it was that he did it, and then he was telling him to go check it, and I don't know, maybe hoping that they were going to blow up the ship. I don't know, but he actually looked at it and didn't see it, and Gary saw it and said, "Time to fix that." We don't want the impulse deck to blow, so he pulls out the shock absorbers, and Kirk's sitting there with some candy, looks like Laffy Taffy, and the doctor is very interested.
Well, it's because it's not the waffle plates from last week. Or the baffle plates or whatever it was.
Baffle, waffle, whatever it was. Yeah.
Actually, it looks like he's got a gun there.
And it looks like the ends are burnt. So we're headed to Delta Vega now, because apparently it has some kind of rocks on it, beryllium spheres or something, that they can recharge the engines.
Yeah, re-energize.
Did they call it lithium? I think they called it lithium crystals. And also failed to mention that Delta Vega is renowned through the galaxy for its beautiful matte paintings.
Yes.
So,
So Gary has these powers that he's starting to display, and Kirk is freaking out. So now I guess him and Spock talked about it, and they want to maroon him on the planet.
Well, Spock at this point wasn't Spock pushing to kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was.
Kirk was the one who's like, I've known him forever. He's my best friend. I can't kill him.
But
Yeah.
doesn't just the thought of the plan, can he see that now?
At this point, I don't know. What do you think? I don't know if his power is that strong yet, because as the episode goes on, he's clearly getting stronger and stronger and stronger.
Because I'm wondering if he's, just like being, just playing along, and we'll go down there, we'll get rid of Kirk and Spock, and then.
Well, I think he knows what they're planning, because Spock and Kirk had that or the conversation, and Mitchell is saying, some think I'm a monster, don't they? So he knows what everybody's thinking. Now, why they didn't catch on to that is beyond me. And he turns into
Great
Palpatine.
screen cap.
So they go back down to, I guess this is sick bay with the Craftmatic adjustables, and Spock wants to kill him, like he said. So he brings the phaser, and he, I guess, uses his force power to throw them both across the room.
And a little bit of force lightning too, I believe.
Well, that's later. The two of them,
Yes.
the two of them go Palpatine on each other.
Well, no, he does use it here.
Oh, I think maybe he does.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
does.
You know what? You may be right, against Spock. Right? Doesn't he throw Spock and then
Spock and Kirk? He uses his force lightning. On both of them.
And then they give him the hypo spray, and it shrinks his shirt 2 sizes. And they drag him out and onto the transport pad, and they go down to the surface of Delta Vega.
By the way, did anybody else have a problem with how long Gary was able to stand up while tranquilized in the transporter pad?
Yes, that made no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. And he's just standing there. I've never seen anybody who was given a narcotic be able to stand like that.
Yeah, he was just hunched over with his head hanging.
Somebody get me a chair, just prop him in there.
So they go down to this deserted planet that has all these buildings and factories on them. Do they explain what happened to these people? Or do we not care?
Well, the galactic economy took a turn, and all those jobs moved to Kronos, so it was cheaper labor. I think it's a fully automated station now, is what they say at some point. So I'm thinking at one point it probably was not fully automated, although we don't see any activity of any sort going on there, automated or otherwise. There's no robots, no nothing going on there. So
they forgot to press the button when they left.
Yeah. Oh, on. There we go. Yeah. So, and I wonder how tough this place must have been, since they had a fully working stockade at this refinery. So thank God for that.
Yeah, and he tries to get out. Now, when he tries to get, does he think he can just break through it? Is that what he's trying to do?
I think he was trying to do that, testing if he could do that.
Oh, I thought that was a tanning bed. Okay. That makes a lot more sense now.
So he gets zapped twice, and he gets. Is she starting to turn now?
Yeah.
So he invites her into the cell. And they both got the googly eyes.
Baked potato eyes.
Mm.
So Kirk wakes up. Spock is still out, and for some reason he gives them a pill.
Yeah, no hypo
What?
spray.
Yeah, what pill do you give an unconscious person that you expect them to swallow it?
Does he hold his nose and put it in a piece of cheese?
Just
yeah,
like you give it to the dog. You know, you gotta rub his throat.
yeah. That's why I think Dr. Piper here retires shortly thereafter.
Yeah, he was slipping on his medical knowledge.
Spock nearly choked on that pill. He almost swallowed his tongue.
So after the doc roofies Kirk, Kirk gets the rifle and says, if you don't hear from us in 12 hours, is that what he said? I think he said 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, isn't that a little long? It's like, go up to the ship. If I don't have this done in an hour, kill us, because if you give Gary another 12 hours to grow, I mean, he's going to be flying this planet towards the Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got to figure. Well, what time is it? Is it like 9:30 at night? This is happening. You get your 8 hours in. Start in the morning. Like, look at that! Look at that rifle, man. If that doesn't say cheesy sci-fi, I don't know what does.
Yeah, I mean, it works for the time, I guess, right?
How come Playmates never gave us one of those?
They should.
Although you
They
can
should.
get Nerf now has the next gen phaser rifles. They are ridiculously expensive.
And I could never understand why you would need, because isn't the phaser, wasn't it explained the phaser was strong enough to take down a ship in orbit? So why do we need a rifle? Merchandising.
Merchandising, that's right. Because the Second Amendment of the Articles of Federation clearly state.
But when they were written, they didn't have phaser rifles.
Or assault phasers? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Next, you'll want everybody keeping their own photon torpedo launchers in their backyards.
Well, you know, if you want to take over the Federation, you're going to need some, you know, F-14s or something. So
they'll have to pry it from like cold, dead tentacle.
So we have Gary and, what was her name?
Denier.
What was it?
Danar or Denier?
So, walking down through the park one day. It's cloudy. It's raining in the background by the Devil's Tower. That must be Wyoming. And they're just, I guess did they say that it took longer for her because her ESP power was stronger than his or less than his?
Less. He scored higher on that ESP whatever test that they took. He scored higher than she did, and that's why it took her longer to get her powers.
Oh, I just thought he got it first because he had the higher rank.
Well, he was closer in the ship.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that's true. He was about 6 feet closer when they.
He was closer to the end of the galaxy. So Kirk is, he's there and he's going to fight Gary. She's like, just go, let him be. And he's like, "What's your prognosis?" And I couldn't find it anywhere, and I wasn't going to go through my Seinfeld DVDs. But I was gonna. I wanted to grab the clip, but prognosis negative. So they
All right, that's a nice effect. I do like the colors ricocheting off. It's very similar to what they did in the cage when they're firing at the Telosians, the mountain.
Mm-hmm. So then Gary uses his power to strip Kirk of the rifle and bring up Kirk's resting place. Now, I don't know who James R. Kirk is, but I guess we're going to bury Kirk there.
I have to tell you, when I saw the remastered version of this, and this was not corrected, I nearly had a stroke. Because of all the things that should have been easily corrected, it would have been this. I would have been happy if they took the R out and just left James Kirk.
Yeah, you have one job.
Yeah. So I actually kind of did a deep dive on this, and the decision was made to leave it that way as kind of, now obviously the story behind this, it was a mistake. They had no name established for Kirk yet, so they just put an R in there. Retroactively, retroconning this, they felt when they did the remastered, this was just giving us a hint that Gary is maybe not all powerful, all infallible as he would like to think he is, because he made a mistake in remembering his best friend's middle initial.
So it was a typo on his part.
Yes. God, the new God made a typo.
Wow, and they really thought that would.
I feel they
Pass.
wanted to save $75 on erasing it from the scene.
I mean, you could digitally remove that and put a T in there for people.
All right, so this is where I stop. This episode of the Geek and I podcast brought to you by Grammarly. Grammarly will fix all of your errors. Okay.
Unless you're a 1960s sci-fi show. Then no, it won't.
And by the way, if you've got all the powers of a god, right? That's the best headstone you could come up with. I've seen better headstones at Spirit Halloween, for God's sake.
He's he has no imagination.
Yeah.
So we start to see that Dinar, she is still has there's still some good in her.
That sounds familiar.
And she starts walking like an Egyptian and gives us some force lightning. And it was kind of tough to capture the actual force lightning coming out of them, out of the fit, because it really, you don't see a lot of it, and it doesn't come off of their hands. It's drawn on their bodies, like for 2 frames. So she zaps him, and then he zaps her, and then I think she zaps him again and knocks him down, and then his eyes go back to normal, and then Kirk is like, his eyes are back to normal. He's okay. And I don't know if he was thinking that he's better, because it's his friend and he was hoping. And they start fighting again because he wakes up and now is this before his eye? I guess.
No,
his
this
eyes-
is after his eyes go back to normal.
Okay, so his eyes are still normal here.
Yes, the great captain, this great tactician, decides the best thing to do while he's got a momentary opening is to throw a punch.
It's like, yeah, take a dive for that phaser rifle and wipe him out. I mean, why have a brawl?
Break his neck, hit him on the head with a rock. I don't know. There's probably at least 50 ways in the immediate vicinity. Look to the right. There's a nice rock there. Hit him in the head with it. End this. But no, we have to get into a long, prolonged fight with the double axe handle, of course, one of Kirk's signature moves.
And he does quite a few karate chops.
Karate chops. There's some
To the
flipping
neck.
going on. Yep. When I saw this scene, it just reminded me of that SNL skit when they had the James Bond villains talking. You have any advice? Yeah, just kill him. Don't put him in elaborate traps. Don't just take a gun and kill him. Nope, we have to go full WWF on this alien planet.
So now I didn't think there would be any way to get this in this episode, but apparently this screenshot gives me the opportunity once again.
I knew it was coming.
So that's 2 weeks in a row. And I tried to get him jumping off the rock, but he just moves like a cat. And he's got, I guess, just dives at Gary and then grabs a rock. And he's got some tan lines, doesn't he?
Our first shirt rip.
Mm.
And it's that cheap ass zipper.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to kill Kirk and throw him. And what does that say? 12
0127712 to 1818.7.
or is it 13?
No,
13,
yeah,
13.
13.7.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they put the
That's
star
13.
dates on there.
Mhm.
That's ridiculous. So everybody has star dates
On their headstones.
on their headstones, I guess.
Evidently.
So we get another right hook. And then he jumps and he grabs the rifle and he shoots the
I thought that was Mace Windu's lightsaber for a second.
we shoot the rocks and the rocks fall and the all-powerful being that can do whatever he wants is now dead because of he's got a rock covering himself in the hole.
Yeah, because it doesn't even go in the hole like to crush him. And it's like, okay, so he's got these powers. He could easily just
Fling
use
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, wait 10 minutes and your powers will grow so you could actually lift the rock.
It's kind of like Kirk wasn't paying attention earlier when Spock was saying the number of dead on the Valiant, and he says, correction, one came back to life. Like, did you zone out during that part of the briefing? Maybe ask for a tricorder and just not assume that he's dead?
So do we think there's one of these silver-eyed people out there from the Valiant?
Well, the Valiant did scuttle. She self-destructed.
Mhm.
So I'm assuming that whatever was on there didn't survive that.
Okay.
Or if it did, maybe it had no, maybe it became non-corporeal and just kind of went into the Great Galactic Barrier.
And we see him in Star Trek V.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We revisit that galactic barrier, which has changed from purple to blue. But I think that's just because may have been too much humidity in the galaxy, like those weather clocks.
Yeah, it's climate change.
Climate change.
Because
Yeah.
my thing about the whole episode was, why are we trying to trick him into going? Why are we taking him down to this planet to strand him there? We have him unconscious. Let's just beam him into space. Would that work?
Or beam him to the center of the closest sun. Yeah, that would probably work. But again, episode 1, we're still kind of writing the rules.
Mhm.
Just like in a future episode where they're stuck on an ice planet dying of the cold, and nobody thought to send down a shuttlecraft because we didn't have one yet. We got a whole hangar deck back there. Yeah.
So she's still alive, though, right?
No, she
No,
died.
she died. Yeah, she
She
died
died?
first. Yeah.
How'd she die?
He took her out.
With the force
Gary
lightning.
took her out. Oh, Gary force lightninged her,
Yes.
Mhm.
and that was it.
Yeah, because she wasn't as strong as him, but yet she was able to knock him out, which makes no sense whatsoever.
Was still writing the rules, though.
This is true.
So he forges their, I guess, work record. And that way you kind of avoid a HR incident.
Last thing you need is space OSHA breathing down your neck.
They're tough.
Yeah.
So we fly off. Did we actually get the engines recharged?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm assuming that they made out. Yeah, because when Kelso is killed, he is explaining to Scotty about that they were all set and ready to go, when that really high-tech effect of the cable coming up behind him and choking him, which I thought was actually pretty effective, occurred.
So
But my question is, in order to get back, they have to go through the barrier again. So nobody gets affected this time?
I think they hit the barrier and then turned around. So I think they're on our side of the barrier. So I don't think they have to go through it again, because when everything was exploding and Kirk said, "Get us out of here," you actually see the ship raise and go off in that direction, like it was making a U-turn.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
I don't think they ever penetrated the barrier.
You need to make that your theme song, John.
Yeah. So just the tip of the Enterprise went in.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. I just want to make sure we got that straight.
No breakage. No breakage.
All right, and that's it.
And that's it.
That was I hate to say it, but episode 4.
And having watched it, do you agree with them switching up the order? I don't think it made a real difference, to be honest with you.
Well, outside of the aesthetics of, the characters and switch, the characters are different, some of them are different, and I mean that bugs me. But as far as the storyline, no. It didn't make any difference. But just the
Well, who was first officer in The Man Trap?
Spock.
Who was first officer in Charlie X?
Spock.
Who was first officer in this one?
Gary Mitchell. Maybe Spock was on double secret probation that week. Until you learn to control your voice on the bridge,
Yeah,
you are no longer a first officer.
he was assistant to the assistant.
Yes. Assistant to the executive officer. He was number 1A. There was number 1 and number 1A.
So now we have who was from our regular cast joined us now. We have James R. Kirk, we have Spock, we have Scotty.
Sulu.
He's here now. Sulu's here. Bones was here, but then left.
He was on furlough.
He was on vacation. I mean, he must.
He had an HR hearing. You can only say pointy-eared, green-blooded hobgoblin so many times before Starfleet HR has to intervene.
Yes. Uhura was not in this one, right?
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
And we know she was in the last one.
Yes, she was. So we
we
had
got-
no D. Kelly, no Uhura, no Janice Rand, and obviously no Chekhov. He didn't come along till later anyway.
Not until the British invasion.
But somehow Khan remembers him because he never forgets a face.
Even one I've never seen before.
That's how
That's
smart,
good.
That's how smart he is.
That's good. Unless when he was going through all those technical manuals, he happened to look at every Starfleet yearbook, commit it to memory. I never forget a face. Most likely to not pronounce V's. Voted most likely.
So, thoughts on this episode? Like we did last week, 1 through 10. What do you give it? Let's start. Let me ask you this: how many times have you watched? Have you seen this episode? Whether it be, something that you sit down and turn on to enjoy it, or, I'm doing laundry or vacuuming and I'm just going to put something on, the Star Trek Pluto channel, and this one happens to be on. How many times have you seen this episode?
Consciously seeking it out, maybe a handful. How many times have I seen it because it was on? At least 150. At least 3 times a year for 50 years. Yeah.
So is this one that you say, I'm flipping the channels and hey, it's Where No Man Has Gone Before. Let me leave that on.
I usually will watch the beginning and the end, and in the middle, I usually mentally check out. I do. I like the setup. I like the effects going through the galactic barrier. I love that stuff. And soon as we get to the part where we fade to black except for the glowing eyes, right after that, I'm out, do the whole sick bay thing and the talky talk, and then as soon as we get to Delta Vega, I'll switch back on.
So would you say the suits were right? It's a little too cerebral, a little too talky. Give us more monsters.
I think what it suffers from overall is pacing. I think the pacing is a little, and I think the scene for me that's the most painful was the briefing room scene. We didn't need to bring everybody in there. I don't think we needed to have Sulu explain his penny metaphor. I don't, to me that like drag, that could have been a conversation with Spock, Kelso, and Kirk, where Kelso shows Spock and Kirk the burnt out piece or whatever it was, and
Impulse.
then he leaves, and Kirk and Spock have that whole conversation about he's getting dangerous. To me, that was an extra 7 or 8 minutes in the middle that could have been cut, and I think a lot of the back and forth between two characters who are not going to live to the end of the episode what dragged on a little bit too.
So is this an episode that would, if written today and having 44 minutes of fill time instead of 53 minutes, works better?
I think it would. I think it would be paced a lot tighter. I think it would definitely benefit from the compressed storytelling time. And yeah, like I would give this overall a 5. It's for me. A good beginning, good ending, terrible middle. Not the best, not the worst.
Deb, what about you? How many times have you seen it? Is this first?
Man, I couldn't say. One, because I don't have cable, so it doesn't pop up on TV. But when I was younger, as a kid, and being up late at night and watching, the reruns would come on late at night. My brother Dave taped every single episode. And so if there was nothing on, because I lived with him for quite a few years. So if nothing was on, yep, we're popping in a VHS tape of Star Trek. So yeah, I couldn't even tell you. It's been many times. But probably here in the last 10 years, 10, 15 years, I probably haven't seen a episode of the original series until probably the last couple years, because I went through and when they all popped up on Paramount, I watched them.
I don't think I've ever watched Star Trek at all until Next Generation, because I was a Star Wars kid, and until Next Gen, not really Next Gen. Let me just say, I like Star Trek after I saw Wrath of Khan, but I don't think I've seen this. This might be the first time I've watched this all the way through this episode. I mean, I'm sure it's been on TV during a marathon where I just put it on for background noise. But this is the first time I sat down and consciously set out to watch it from beginning to end.
Will it be the last?
Probably.
Okay.
It probably won't. Because there's no reason for me to. There's really nothing in there. Like there are certain episodes of Next Gen where I'd be like, I want to see that one again because of this, or I'm currently in the Borg saga, and I want to see what's his name? I want to see that one episode. So this one here, I mean, it really doesn't. It doesn't have anything for me. What is the next episode?
The Naked Time.
See, now that's one that I've seen a couple of times.
You're going to use that music a lot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I've seen that one a couple of times only because of
I know what you're gonna say.
the Naked
Naked
Now.
Now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's one you watch and then you have to do research on to kind of figure out why, what does this mean? And then you go back and you watch that one. Plus it has, flamboyant Sulu with a sword. So, I mean, you have to watch
and
that
eyeshadow.
Mm.
Sword and eyeshadow. Yeah.
But this one here, I mean, this one is
meh.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's why
it lasted 3 seasons.
Yeah, that's why I put it in the middle of the pack. And there are a lot of middle of the pack episodes, and there are a lot of I'd say it's split between middle of the pack and really good, with a handful of ones I go out of my way to avoid watching. That I find it painful to sit through. And the same with Next Gen, but I think Next Gen was more. I think the ones that I would probably not go back and revisit all were within the first 2 seasons.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's really not that many standout.
Well, even the 3rd season, until the Best of Both Worlds, towards the end of season 3, that's where they kind of
they hit their
notch.
stride. Yeah. DS9, I think there might be 2 that were to me had no value whatsoever. I mean, 2 out of 7 years isn't bad. And then Voyager, I go back and I watch Voyager now every night if I'm up and it's on Heroes and Icons. And I watched every episode of that show, and I can tell you, I sit through episodes, go, I remember nothing about this episode. It's enjoyable, it's okay, but to me, it just was not overly memorable. And I'm starting to think that might be the one series that I deserves a more intent rewatch on my part, because I remember I enjoyed it when it was on at the time, but I have no long-term memories of it. Remember, we had our UPN and popcorn and our Andorian dip that I made. It was just green onion dip, blue onion dip. It wasn't yeah. And then even with Enterprise, I capture an episode every once in a while. I go, I don't think I ever remember seeing this. And that was a show that I enjoyed. So I don't know. I guess you're going to have some clunkers along the way. But this one, I wouldn't say it was a clunker, and I wouldn't say it was great. Just
it was there.
It was there.
It introduced us to James R. Kirk. So
that's right. Maybe he had a twin.
Well, an evil twin.
Yeah. Well, doesn't he have a brother? Apparently.
George.
Yeah, Sam. Right? George.
Sam.
Sam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you watching Strange New Worlds?
Not at all.
I will tell you, I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Discovery nearly killed me. I will tell you, Discovery nearly killed me. Because each week I was like, wait, what? Wait.
Well, they have one more season to complete
Strange New World has been a kind of a breath of fresh air, because to me it is most like in spirit to the original series. Maybe a little bit too lighthearted for some people's taste. Like, Captain Pike is practically a stand-up comedian. But I'm enjoying it because it harkens back to a fun time, and they're doing fun stories, and you can tell the actors in the show are having a blast doing it as well. And it really comes through. I would recommend it, John.
Yeah, no, I've tried. I've even tried to watch the musical episode,
Oh, no.
and
I didn't mind it. I again, an entity, that causes people to sing. Really, how long have you been watching this show? Because there have been some real questionable things over 55 years. So what did you expect going into this? You're going to get those kind of weird one-off things, but I enjoy it. I try and keep an open mind about this. Now we get a DS9 reboot. I would be thrilled.
Wait,
are
what?
they-
A DS9 reboot, I would be thrilled.
Oh, I thought you said we're getting a DS9. I was like, how did I miss that?
I would. I wish they had made some kind of effort to get some of them on the Picard season 3, even Picard season 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Season 1, I couldn't. It was great to see them again, but I couldn't give you any details about any of those episodes. Season 2, as much as I liked the concept, I thought the execution fell flat. Oh, and Q dies. But wait, did he? Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. Picard season 3 kind of summed that up. I guess he didn't. So, why do an emotional punch if you're just going to pull the rug out from under everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've told anybody who's asked me about the Picard season, I'll go straight to season 3. That's all you need.
Yeah, go straight to season 3.
Mhm.
There should have just been like a 10-minute recap, a 5-minute recap of the first 2 seasons, and then just pick up Picard season 3.
Well,
Yeah.
I once they were all released, I did a 7-hour edit of season 3 and took out almost all of Raffi.
Not a Raffi fan, huh?
She was useless in that season because all she did was reiterate what we saw the week before.
You wouldn't want to see a buddy cop Star Trek show with Raffi and Worf?
No.
No.
I'd rather just see a Worf series.
Yeah, well, I think we all would, but I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah, I was very disappointed. I mean, because I don't know if they actually announced it or they just alluded to Worf having a series with him as a captain.
They had talked about it back and forth, and I think the person who talked about it most was Michael Dorn, and I don't think that there was that much demand for it. I don't know, and who knows what the future is going to hold now if Paramount's being sold. 20th
Right, well,
Century Fox buys them.
Well, they're saying Skydance, so I mean, we're gonna get
Everybody's throwing their hat soon.
we're gonna get so much lens flare. We're not gonna be able to watch episodes. So,
Well, the shields now are going to be, they're going to change the harmonics to block the lens flare because you can't be flying a starship like this going, I can't see anything. Lens
all
flare
right, so
picture.
we have next week is The Naked Time. Quick,
That's the episode, not us, right?
Anybody who's on the lower level.
I'm gonna say I probably have to pass.
Okay.
Nobody wants to see this. I guarantee it.
This is not Betazoid, no, so.
Quick rundown of The Naked Time. Go.
Debbie, you want to go?
Man. Yeah, I don't remember a whole lot. I just, the sword fighting, shirtless. I don't know if there's some kind of entity that takes over or is it just him that's affected?
Is it the same white powder that they get sprayed with in Next Gen? Because isn't that
You mean the popcorn ceiling stuff that's all over everything?
Yeah, I don't know. Isn't that what happens where they breathe something in, or
It's transmitted through touch. I think it's water-based.
oh, that's right, because it goes. You hear the touch.
Yeah, my only, and it's been a while, but the things that stand out to me are environmental suits made out of clear plastic shower curtains. The uh, nice effect spiraling into the planet. I remember that one, and I think we get our first look at that has come to be known as the Shatner School of Acting. As he's infected, and we get the famous "Look at me," and
But
Spock's
he didn't do
crying in the
that.
corner. No, he didn't. You're right. I guess I guess it's the Mandela effect.
Yeah, because I mean, he doesn't. He said himself he doesn't talk like that.
Yeah. Somebody's too
Yeah, they're
bizarre.
infected with a virus that causes crew members to behave irrationally. Oh, we get Janice Rand back.
And we get
Nurse Christine.
singing
Her again?
Lieutenant Riley, who I would have liked to have seen develop as a semi-regular. I think he's in 3 or 4 season 1 episodes before he disappears. Singing "I'll Take You Home Again, Kathleen." All in all, pretty solid episode, if I remember correctly. I'm looking forward to rewatching that one this week.
Now, have you seen the trailer for the Shatner doc that's coming out?
I did see it.
There's a Shatner doc coming out?
Yeah, it's called It's called William Shatner. You Can Call Me Bill. It comes out. We were on. I guess as you can see, I'm part of Legion M, who is making this picture, and we were on a call this week, and the release date is March 22nd, which is also William Shatner's birthday. So we're going to get the William Shatner doc, William Shatner, You Can Call Me Bill, March 22nd. They showed us the new trailer, not just a teaser or a sales pitch video. It's an actual trailer that will be shown in theaters. I think they said it'll be finalized this week and ready to drop the trailer next week. Now I've seen the rough cut of the documentary. I enjoyed it. I usually don't do documentaries, but it was really good and really, I guess, I don't want to say sad, but very, very interesting that I'm not interested, but I guess fitting that he's getting this at 92 years old. So it's very good.
So where's it going to be aired at?
It'll be online. We're going to do, once I get permission to show it, I'm going to see if they'll allow me to do a reaction on the channel in front of one of our episodes. So maybe
The trailer or the documentary
the
itself?
trailer.
Oh.
The documentary is going to be in movie theaters.
Oh.
Because it premiered last whenever South by Southwest was last year. It premiered at South by. I think it has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes still. And I should have gone to Austin to go see it. I was invited to go hang out with everybody and hang out with William Shatner, but I could not. I couldn't make it that night that the film was showing, but I have seen a rough cut, and it was very good. I enjoyed it. So,
well, he's going to be up here in July doing the Ticonderoga tour again. So very, very, very tempting. I say that every year. With knowledge that time is running out if I want to do this.
Right.
I don't know how many more, although he may live forever at this point. But yeah, I'm seriously considering doing it.
Yeah, that's my only. I mean, usually I'm not into celebrity, meeting, even if you go to conventions and there's lines and lines of people at certain tables, you know what? I could, it doesn't mean that much to me to go meet somebody.
No, you weren't impressed the day you hung out with Martin Landau at the Icon convention.
So.
Wow, really?
There's a story behind that. He forgot how to spell my last name. He got me a press pass, so he just wrote Martin Landau on my press credentials. So I got to be Martin Landau for the entire day. I got a couple of stares. Jeez, things got tough after Space 1999. This was pre, what do you call it? The Bela Lugosi movie. Yeah. Martin Landau. Did get a nice discount on that Eagle Transporter model, though.
Yeah.
You sign this, Mr. Landau? Sure.
All right. Well, that's it. We will be back next week with the Naked Time. Thanks for watching the Geek and I podcast. Thanks, Deb. What do you got coming up this week?
Well, MCU Monday, episode 3 of Echo. Tuesday, depending on what they're talking about, I may or may not be on the Sith Dominion. And then Thursday is Cantina Happy Hour, and we are going back and watching Rebels. So we'll be doing episode 3 and 4, season 1 of Rebels, Star Wars.
And the ones you did, was it 2 weeks ago?
Oh, the Ewok movies?
Yeah, that one's got quite a lot of views, doesn't it?
Yeah, the first one, Caravan of Courage, I think it had like 155 views, and then the Battle for Endor's got over 300 last time I looked, which is good for us. So,
Martin, what do you got coming up? Real life?
Yeah, pretty much. And this. So I'll be here next week. Real life and this. Yeah, that's about it.
Well, we are looking at. I've sent him an email. He's already confirmed. We're just trying to work out schedules. Christopher Corman might be on the podcast. He is Harvey Corman's son. I've been in contact with over here in Choctaw, where Echo is from. They're doing the Texoma Comic-Con. So I might be chatting with the folks over at the Texoma Comic-Con. And as always, I'm trying to get Vic Mignogna on the program, because the last time I met him at the Retro Expo, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to be on." I don't know if he was. It was after lunch, so I don't know if he remembers that, but we'll see. We'll see.
So are you saying he was under the effects of a virus transmitted through water molecules?
It could have been. Could have been. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We got a lot of stuff planned. We got 2 cons coming up. I might go down to Glitches Arcade tomorrow. They are doing a gaming expo, I guess, where it's trading old games. So there's a game you want, and you have something that somebody else wants. You trade them out. I forget what they call that. Swap meet.
Nice.
Yeah, swap meet.
Swap
yeah.
meet.
There's an old games swap meet coming up tomorrow at the Glitches Arcade. So if you're in the Sherman Denison area or in the local Dallas area, come on up to Glitches. Other than that, there's no movies coming out. TV sucks.
Yeah.
Reacher is over, so there's really nothing. There's really nothing to watch. We got the big game in 2 weeks. Who are you picking for Sunday?
Who's even playing? I don't even know.
Okay, that ends that question. Thanks for joining us.
I mean, I don't have
is a
cable,
nerd
so I don't
podcast.
watch football anymore. And plus, I don't know, football got stupid, doing stupid things. So I just.
Are you saying that Taylor Swift has not added to the NFL's credibility one bit this season?
If she was going out for a pass, if she was on the offensive line, maybe.
Be a hell of a kicker.
Could be. So, all right, that's enough of that. We'll see you. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for those who suffered through this one more time. How many episodes in this first season?
111. No,
I was gonna say there's only 76 total, 76, 78.
Some of them feel
79.
like 111.
79.
Yeah.
I was close.
If we get any more, it's 70. How many? 76
79.
episodes, 79 episodes. That feels like 111. So
Some episodes you're gonna wish time travel was an actual thing, so you get
Yes.
that hour back.
well, when I watched it again to grab the screen caps, I watched it at double speed. It was much better.
Pacing.
That's it. All right. We're going to cut that right there. We will see you again next week. Thanks, everybody.
Good night,
Live long
guys.
and prosper. We will see you next time.